To another edition of Barn Burner here on YouTube, in your ear holes, Spotify, Apple. Do you know anybody that is using Amazon? Is that the other way to listen to the podcast?
Yeah, sure.
Is there people that use
the Googs? You can. Are
you Facebook?
A lot of places to get pods.
Yeah. Well, anyway, wherever it is that you are and however you got here, it's good to see you.
Good to see Rhett.
A blurry Rhett
Cat McGee there. Look at that.
Yeah, rabbit ears and tin foil down in Florida. Apparently, whereabouts in Florida? Because you flew into Lauderdale.
Well, that's right by the rink.
And so
it's as close as I need. It's as far as I need to go. I landed in Lauderdale and I'm on the beach. That's pretty much
find water.
All that's gonna
plant your stakes.
Yeah.
Want to buckle your shoe? Get to the water.
Get to the ocean. I'll be good.
There you go.
I burnt my ears yesterday.
Oh Jesus! Well, you should
be
wearing those headphones then, because you wouldn't be. You'd be in good shape with those big cans.
They'd be safe with these things on, but
yeah, they'd be safe.
Maybe I will the rest of the way. Make a statement.
That's a vibe. You could put out the vibe.
You do see that every once in a while, right? The people that have they just sputz up their ears and their snooter. They get it all friggin' creamy.
Oh yeah.
What are you? What's happening? Baby. We got some. What kind of laser beams are coming down from the heavens and torching your ears like that?
Safety first, Dean.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
I'll be zinking the nose this weekend. That's probably the move now.
Yeah.
Don't want to get burnt 2 weekends in a row.
Yeah, Pinder got his the equator, south of the equator.
You can almost see like goggles would go here.
Almost as if, yeah,
almost as if.
Hey, it happens. That's the price you pay for having beautiful spring skiing.
God damn it, it's amazing.
We're going to have, we anticipate, Jamie McLennan joining us here on the TELUS Insider Hotline in a matter of moments. And it's do we start now breaking down last night's matchup between the Flames and the Ducks, or do we just save it? Do we want to wait? Because you don't want to get into it and then have to throw the brakes on partway through. So,
and there's so much to talk about with, It was a whelming performance.
I don't know.
Very whelming.
Yeah, it was. It was something. Did you take it in, Rhett? Did you hustle? Did you shuffle off the beach and park yourself in front of the television to watch the Ducks and Flames?
I did sign in to watch it and was told that I was in a non-subscriber zone, which doesn't make any sense, as Anaheim is nowhere, or Calgary is nowhere close to Florida. So.
You should be on the old NordVPN there. Then put yourself back in Buffalo or in Canada, wherever you need to be to watch that thing.
I did need the Nord. I did try it. I did. I have the Nord. I did try it. It's for some reason wasn't successful. So,
are you above the Mendoza line? Like since they traded Hanifin and Tanev, like have you watched 20% of the games?
Oh yeah, at least 20%.
30,
but certainly not 50.
Right.
And last night, I got to be honest, was not even when it said can't out of your zone. Okay.
Yep. See ya.
Yeah.
You didn't seek out a sports bar to request what sport?
I could have walked. I could have walked half a block and got to a sports bar and probably got the game on. But
world-renowned
I knew that you know what I knew? I knew I'd hear it from you guys. What the hell do I need to watch it for when I can get your in-depth analysis? It's better than watching.
Glued to Afterburner last night as well, so you're all filled up with insight.
So not 50, but more than 20.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're using the trade deadline for that seems very arbitrary.
Well,
I would say for the season.
Oh, much better before the deadline.
Why do you assume? Why do you assume? We've heard a lot about.
I'll ask him. I mean,
games are blacked out and you're out of territory. I'm just because we know.
Well, do I have to watch it live?
There's the 5-minute highlight pack
the game
that
recaps,
he's talked about watching.
Do I have to watch it live?
I don't think live's a requirement, but just
live is not a requirement. No. But are you watching the broadcast or a highlight pack?
Well, I watched the highlight pack this morning, and I watched the broadcast. What was the last game? The LA game on Sunday, on Easter Sunday. Yeah. I know, but I'm saying I didn't watch it Saturday.
Yeah.
So Sunday I watched it.
No, I am I crazy thinking that since they basically punted on the season and that your interest level has dropped in watching them live?
It's not high, and it's like I said, especially with Anaheim in the house, it was. Oof.
It's very like what small what like short-term things are we learning here? This is all big picture stuff now. Like there's 8 left.
We'll get into it with our opening statements in a matter of moments, but maybe this guy watched the game. Let's cross our fingers.
Better chance.
And head to the Insider Hotline presented by TELUS, where you can enter to win one of 6 monthly prizes, including tickets to Calgary hockey games, awesome tech like AirPods, Apple Watches, and more. No purchase necessary. All you have to do is fill out a quick survey to enter. For your chance to win, go to TELUS.com/Flames contest, and we say hello to the one and only Jamie McLennan. Jamie, please tell me you watched the game last night, because we're kind of tapping out here a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
One of us had to do Afterburner last night, which required the viewing, and as long as it wasn't the Blue Jays in the 9th inning, all eyeballs were on the hockey game.
Well, I mean, I watched. So I had to do the Ottawa Senators Minnesota game from the panel. So I was watching the Flames game on my computer, and then I watched the rest of it at home. I mean, yes, I watched the game. It is tough to watch sometimes, but for me, I like watching hockey, and I like seeing what other teams are up to as well. Because I was actually just as curious to see what Anaheim was up to. There's Trevor Zegras, a guy like there's a lot of opinions out on him now. For me early on, it seemed like this guy was going to be a rock star. In the last couple of years, he just seems like he's regressed. And I know the injury, there's nothing you can do about that. But, at the end of the day, to me, he kind of floats around out there. He's got skill, but I don't know if he's taken the next level to be a top tier player.
It's funny you mentioned, Matt, because I went to the game last night. I actually went to a game, and that's a big stunner, I know, for everybody. And I was the same thing. I got my ISO cam. I'm like, I got to watch this guy, because this guy 2-3 years ago, 20 goals. This guy had all the skill in the world. What a steal for the Ducks to get him at where they did in the first round. And all I could see and think was perimeter player.
This guy is exactly what I was thinking.
This guy is not in the mix at all. It's a lot of it's almost embarrassing. It's waist high saucer passes, backhand sauces through the middle to there's no way that your teammate's going to be able to get the pass.
Did he try a backhand tweener pass last night?
Oh my gosh. He's doing stuff that you do before practice starts. Yeah, when you're just kind of warming up and fucking around with the puck, flipping it around. He's doing that in the course of a game. He'd be very frustrating to play with. I would think more so to coach. And now we maybe understand why the GM is contemplating getting him the F out of Dodge.
I just look at a lot of his hockey. I use this phrase, empty calories. Like there's a lot of empty calories there. Like, hey, look, I'm going to try this. It looks good. Like the Kuzmenko first goal. Did you see the reach in by him? Like that's just a drive by. Like it's hey, I'm going to float by here. Maybe I'll poke it away. If not, Kuzmenko makes a great play on that. Yeah. That's not a hardened play.
You can play the body, right? In the NHL, you're allowed to get
you're not allowed to hit anymore. It's a non-contact league. It's a gentleman's league out here. We don't want nothing to see here. It's a Wednesday night. It's a Tuesday night. Let's you don't hurt me. I won't hurt you. And like, there's a lot of games like that. And believe me, in Rhett, in our era, I'm sure there was no hitters, and I think there was things where there wasn't much happening. But it's another level this year. I mean, this generation where it's like, you'll see. I had a coach say to me that one time or last week. I'm not going to say his name, but he came in and I said, "Have you had any meltdowns lately?" He said, "I went in on my team," and he goes, "You got to pick your spots." But he goes, the hits were 4-2 after the second period. It goes like it's like there's nothing going on. He said we were down 2-1, so he goes, I wanted to take a shot at to see if my guys would respond. They did. They came back in the third, but he said, he goes, it's not the end all be all, because he said he believes in possession, he believes in all that, but he said, what type of intensity are you showing me where they had 2 hits in 2 periods? So, Like that's where the game's at right now.
What happens from here? Because Verbeek, obviously, it's not a fit for the type of team he builds and the player that Zegras is. They might be polar opposites, opposite ends of the spectrum. But now he's dealt this hand where he has to deal maybe the lowest value ever for Zegras is where if he's going to move him, he's going to try to sell him at. How does this play out for you? And do you think there's any teams that are like, we can fix him, put him next to this guy and we'll solve it?
I think fix him might be a little harsh because I don't know if he's broken. I think he needs growth. I think he needs maturing. Like I forget some of these young guys, their habits are poor because they've just been the best player wherever they've played. So they don't get touched. Everyone coddles them. Now the NHL is going to sort you out, what type of player you are. And are you going to be a first line star? Are you going to be a second line, third line, fourth line? You're going to be a really good player in the minors that gets called up. Like eventually the league sorts you out. He has top-notch skill. There's no doubt about that. You can see the edge work. You can see the puck handling, all of that type of stuff. How do you incorporate that in a team environment? And then how do you get it up to standard, what you were saying, Boomer, where it doesn't look like you're in practice just dinking around. It's like I watch Leon Draisaitl try things, but this guy knows what the hell he's doing. And sometimes it gets picked off, but a lot of times it's like, yeah, that guy just made a 60-foot backhand saucer pass to find his line mate because he knows he's going to be there. And he'll absorb contact to make the play. So top tier skilled guys, okay, they know when to distribute the puck, when to make those plays. Zegras is a video game right now. So I think he's still figuring that out. I think there's value there, but if I was Verbeek, I wouldn't sell while he was low. I'd get him healthy, feeling good about his game. And then if you decide to move away from him, that's a pretty good package you can get for a young, skilled player.
Well, and then the challenge is that means you have to live with Trevor Zegras still, which might be driving Pat Verbeek nuts.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We watched one night, and we've kind of made our conclusion. Other GMs and teams that will have been watching, this is not new. What do you get for him? And to Ryan, to your point, if this guy's going to be frustrating, this is not the work ethic. This is not how we play. This is not our identity. Because I'll be honest, I thought the Ducks, I was impressed. They were forechecking. They were all over the ice. They played their asses off for a team that has one win in 13 games. The Flames were not very good, obviously, but credit to the Ducks. And then this guy, and it's the other things too, just the slow moping off of a change, slow into the board, into the bench, just the
give a fuck.
I would have a hard time if I'm Verbeek, not just if I can find a team that has interest. How do we maybe make it a bit of a bigger deal, just another level up where I get something back and I'm not just giving them away?
Yeah, because he's thinking about the room and culture. Like you can't have a guy at that age with that talent fucking around.
Go ahead, Rhett.
Well, is that Verbeek to deal with, or is that Verbeek and the coach? Because what I wanted to ask Noodles is, if you're the coach, how do you approach this?
Yeah.
Greg Cronin is I think a good guy, and I think he's getting an opportunity as a head coach here. But I don't know do you have much control when you're literally in a rebuild and you're just trying to? I feel like, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to him whatsoever. A lot of times, coaches in a rebuild, they're placeholders. What your job is to do is to get these kids to have some habits, to try and learn the game. There's going to be mistakes. You're going to try them out in different situations where they're going to have success and they're going to fail. I feel like you've got to be. It's funny watching the Toronto Blue Jays when Vladdy and Bo came up. They had this manager, Charlie
Montoyo.
We call him Charlie Bongos. The guy they'd lose 10-0. The guy be in his manager's thing, playing the drums and like happiest guy. And you're like, what the hell's going on? But he was a placeholder while these kids were learning. And I feel like when Anaheim turns the corner, and believe me, they're going to turn the corner. They've got some prospects. They've got kids coming. They've got a good young goaltender. I think especially some of the young forwards that are I don't know the kid they traded Drysdale. That's a kid.
Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, Gauthier.
He looks elite. Right?
He's
in the Frozen Four.
But we'll see at the end of the day, if they all mesh together. But, coming back to it, Rhett, the coach can hold these guys accountable, but I think you only got a few bullets in your chamber there, because it's, hey, these kids are going to learn on the fly. There's going to be massive mistakes, all of that type of stuff. And you can't hold their feet to the fire every day. I think it's more of like, you're going to have to give them a blast once in a while. Now you look at John Tortorella, for example. Torts is coaching the hell out of that team, but you could tell he's trying to figure out who in that room. And I think he's already got it sorted out. Who's going to be there next year type of thing. Because, his comments the other day is he's saying, there's some guys that just don't know how to play here. And that's going right up to management saying, I'm not coaching that guy next year. You better get rid of him. So it's interesting to see, at the end of the day, like, these guys they've got input right now, but they also have input for the future. So I imagine where Cronin is probably in Pat Verbeek's ear saying, this kid's good, but man, he's 2 years away from getting it.
You mentioned the East there. That's Philly's below 50% to make the playoffs for the first time in a long time. And they were way up in the Metro for a long time. I'm seeing some, shots fired at Torts for the way he's handled things. I think other people think he's done a hell of a job managing that group and squeezing more out of them than people thought. Not a lot of people had them as a playoff team before the season started. Pittsburgh suddenly climbing in the mix. Washington and Detroit haven't really moved the needle a ton for us. How do you see this sorting out? Because there's essentially 2 spots there, one of the wild cards and third in the Metro, and 4 teams chasing them.
I feel like the Islanders somehow can sniff.
So maybe 5. Okay.
But I don't know. I was looking at it this morning. The Islanders are 1 point back of Washington and Detroit and 2 back of Philly. Now, there's 2 spots there. Can the Islanders sniff? I think they got the goalie. The coach is certainly motivated. That team is pretty, they're hard to play against. They're a pain in the ass. Like they really blanket you. They're physical. They're heavy. Detroit are right around there. I think Washington's leaking oil. It's funny. There's 2 spots open and nobody's grabbing them. Everyone's kind of like just grasping at straws. And I think that's why Torts is losing his mind, going, you guys got a chance. We've got free experience here. Yeah. It's something they didn't bank on at the start of the year. He's probably saying we can move this retool, rebuild a little quicker along if some of these guys get some valuable playoff experience. That's what I think he's trying to push for. So he's not letting them off the hook. The only thing that worries me for Torts is that it probably shortens his shelf life with that group, because he's, we saw it with Darryl. We know how hardened coaches are. When you push the players today, if they don't like it, they go the other way. So I think Torts is maybe, if anything, he's shortening his shelf life, but he's doing it going, I'm trying to get you guys in the playoffs the best as I can. I'm trying to push every button, but it might be at the expense of maybe another year of him coaching 2 years from now, as opposed to he's got 1 more year type of thing. That would be my thought.
He doesn't seem to be compromising his values, though, right? Nope. 2 days ago, he comes out, this is embarrassing to the Philadelphia Flyer jersey. Like, he is still all gas all the time. He will not, regardless of the talent of the group, the age of the group, or any of it, he is just full Torts all the time. And I guess there's something, and if you can't handle it, then I guess it's a nightmare. But I guess there's something to that. The coach, and Darryl was that way. This is the way, if you're paying me to coach this team, this is how I do it. Now, if you don't want me to, that's not going to work, then I can't do it. But this is how it's going to be. And for Torts and for Darryl, there's proofs in the pudding. They've got cups. Yeah,
they do. But what happens is you get half the population now that are like, oh, they're, too hard, you can't coach that way. That's old school. And you're lumping everybody into one, where I think John Tortorella, for the most part, again, I don't know how he works behind the scenes, but I think he's a player's coach. It's just when you're in it sometimes, I look back, did I love Darryl Sutter every day of the year that I had him? No. But I look back, Rhett, we talked about it, the receiving line, for Darryl. People respect him. Jerome McGinley talks about, how Darryl was one of the greatest coaches he ever had. And he had Olympic coaches. Jerome saw everything. So I think Torts in a vacuum, it's individually, maybe Konechny doesn't love him because Konechny wants a little bit longer leash. But, maybe I'm trying to draw a blank on the right-handed shot. Good player.
Tippett.
Owen Tippett. Sorry, Owen Tippett. He might like him because maybe Torts presses the right buttons. So I feel like there's an opportunity here where in a vacuum, you got to figure out who the coach moving forward. But I think he's the guy for the next 2 years, and he'll figure out that organization, and he's going to help with that rebuild.
Yeah, and you guys would, like with Daryl especially, like you could put up with it when you're winning. When you're losing, it's fucking miserable. If they miss here, oof, because it just felt like they were so far ahead of that pack when we look a month, 2 months, 3 months ago.
Right.
Lucky for them, though, doesn't look like it'll be a death spiral. They're meaningful games. They can't dwell on losses for too long. You know what I mean?
Fair.
You get the feel like he'd be no fun. We've talked a bit about it, and like you're a million miles away, but just do you have thoughts on the job that Ryan Huska has done here with this group? With the guys are getting traded. Are we keeping guys? Are they trading guys? The Backlund's the captain, the new GM, everything. There's been so much go on, and we've talked about the job Conroy has done. What do you make of what Huska's done?
I think he's done a great job, and in a really tough position. You take over. The team's in transition. You're trying to find the right mix for, Huberdeau to get him back going. You have a general manager that says we're not going to go through this process again, having to trade out players. Very disruptive. Zadorov was disruptive. I think he's done a great job. Even the Markstrom stuff near the end. You're trying to win games here. And Markstrom at the deadline's like, not sure what's going on. Like there's stuff getting leaked out. I think in a year where there's been incredible things that have happened that have been, not good for the team as far as distractions.
Off-ice adversity, right?
Yes.
There's the on-ice stuff, which he's in charge of, and that's a challenge. But there's also been a lot of stuff to navigate off the ice.
That's what I was trying to figure out, the word, distractions. There's been incredible distractions. And I think he's done a good job. He's trying to win games, but he's also understands that they're not going to make the playoffs, and you've got to try players out. But, you start Markstrom. Would you maybe started Wolf last night if you're just literally throwing the towel in and going, hey, we're just going to develop here. All we're doing. Because you came back with Markey after the big win because you beat LA and you're like, thought I liked our game. Is that an argument? You go, doesn't matter what happens, I'm starting Wolf. So those are the things where I think Ryan Huska will be conflicted down the stretch here, where it's the conversation with the GM going, what do you want to do here? You're going to call up some players, but I'm still trying to win games because it's my record and it's my reputation.
Yeah, and it's funny, like Seattle's already doing that. They're like, Shane Ray, come on up. This Logan Morrison kid, come on up. We're going to look at kids. Like, we'll rest vets. The Flames haven't quite got there, although I do think they've taken their time with the Markstrom, Mangiapane, Kuzmenko at times. If guys are nicked up, they're just running kids instead. But I don't know. This team is impossible to figure out for me. The 2-0 against Boston, 2-0 against Winnipeg, 2-1 against Dallas, 2-0-1 against Vegas, and 2-6 against the worst 4 teams in the league. Like, how the fuck does that happen?
You know what it is? I was looking at that game last night, and I just feel like, Kadri, like, looked good. Uyghur was skating. But then are these guys on a death march? Like, I think mentally that would be hard to do. I can't remember. You could, Pinder, you're good with the numbers and that. When is the last time the Flames have been this far out of the playoffs at this time of the season?
Probably Daryl's lockout shortened or COVID shortened season, his first year here when he took over. No, I mean the last year that Daryl was here when they had that all Canadian division, the COVID year. They might not have been this far out, but it was clear they weren't making it. And he kept starting Markstrom. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Louis Dominguez right there. Get some draft stock here.
Well, I feel like
missed.
Yeah.
I feel like it was 01-02 when I first arrived. Like that was, I felt like we were looking at the bottom of the standings and looking up. But you're right. Like there has been hiccups, but I feel like it's tough for everybody to be motivated. You guys were talking about it. Like, do you want to watch the game? You're not sure what the hell is going to go on. You're like, it's hard. Craig Conroy has to evaluate who he wants to keep moving forward. Like that's what I think. There's big decisions to be made in this retool situation.
So let's go there. A lot of conversation on the postgame show last night, comments and questions, especially following his week of play. What do you do with On Kuzmenko? He's clearly an electric offensive talent. There's clearly a lot of wanting from coaches on the defensive side, hence him falling out of favor in Vancouver. He'll be 30 when his new deal kicks in. Is this a guy that Craig Conroy should look at locking up, or is this a perfect pump and dump candidate to get more young assets?
He's in that tweener. Is he 27?
He turned 28 in January, so he'll be 29 next year. Last year of his deal. First year of a new contract, 30.
Yeah, that's tough. I think you want to keep players, but the minute you say 30 and you're in I would say probably sell high if you could.
Yeah.
Just based on, is he replaceable? He's a guy that, he's in and out, for me, in and out of the games. I notice him and then I don't notice him for 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you guys feel. I'd like somebody who scores goals, who's a little bit more consistent in their play and in their 200-foot game. I don't think that's him. And I don't think it'll ever be him.
Agree.
He's got a great personality. And I think he's a likable person, but we're just talking about the business of the game, not, hey, should we keep him because we like him type of thing.
God, and see, I hear that, and I don't know if you I want to see more. Unless I get a really good offer
next
this
year.
summer, I'm not trading him. I want him for another year because we have done nothing but bellyache and bitch here about needing skill. Could you please get some skill? Could you get some guy
play? And Boomer, you're right, but you do have the luxury till next trade deadline.
Yeah.
To go.
It's like, you finally get a guy that has some high-end skill, and he is an electrifying player. And then we kind of, can we find some guys that can play more 200-foot games? And then you got a team full of guys that are playing 200 feet that can't.
It's the window. He does not match this team's competitive window. He's going to be 32 and this team's good again. At the earliest. It does not make sense.
We're talking about Zegras, and I'm having a little fun with him. I think Zegras, you can teach defense. You can teach maturity, all of that. This guy's the maturity. He should be mature. He should understand the game. He's 28 coming 29. He's not a kid that you pull aside and go, you got to stop eating, pop and chips before the game and not taking a nap and walking around the mall because you got to grow up or playing video games. It's this guy. I don't know if he has a family, but he's 28, 29 coming 30. He's on the back end technically, but he's got high skill. So if you want a skilled guy to rub off on your young players, no problem. I get that. You do have the luxury to be talking about him being moved at next year's deadline. You could still have him to start the season next year.
Yeah, I think I would. That feels like how this plays out. He hangs around. Will be in and out of the lineup a little bit, and you just hope that he gets enough point that he has the numbers that are going to get you something at the trade deadline.
Would it be wild? That's a cash throw-in from Vancouver. They needed to make the money work with Lindholm. He was getting healthied by Tocchet, who's going to win Coach of the Year in a landslide, I think. But a guy that had 39 as a rookie was a throw-in and a deal, and you might be able to turn him around into a similar type package as the one you got for Lindholm.
Yeah.
That would be a masterclass in asset management.
You've got value there, and Connie's done. I think we've all agreed. Maybe I'm wrong, but that Connie's done a really good job with the deals that he's made.
Yeah,
I think they've been thorough. I think he's gotten good return, and he's got lots to work with. Now, if you decide that Kuzmenko, my whole thing is he is what he is, or is there more there? Boomer, yeah. The jury's still out with you. When guys get cast off from top tier teams, basically they were saying, you can't play here. You're not going to be a part of a winning culture. That's what I always worry about, is that Vancouver couldn't wait to get rid of this guy. So what are we missing that they saw? So
Coach of the Year.
You ever play with someone like that? Whether it's a maturity level or whatever it is that we're seeing. But someone that just has all-world skill And you got all the tools and the tools, no toolbox, whatever you want to call it. But somebody that if you could just flip a little bit of a switch, if you could just get around one little thing in your game, you'd be so good. But unfortunately, you almost can't get out of your own way.
Man, I feel like I have because I've been well traveled, but like Chris Gratton, I think was a world beater. I love the man too. He's a great guy, but I feel like he was a guy who people always wanted more from.
He was a guy that people wanted more from. And the problem for Gratz, and I love him too. We had tons of fun and got along so good in Buffalo. He'd beat himself up. He didn't need a coach to beat him down. He'd get if he didn't score or have a half good game, he'd beat himself up, and then he'd turn one bad shift into a bad week. Like it was funny, that guy. You're like, dude, things are not that bad. Like you're good. Just play. But and it wasn't lack of effort, I didn't think. And I don't.
Yeah,
he highly skilled was.
I think of some of the Russian players I played with, the guys who were like ridiculously skilled, and you'd look at them. I played with a guy. It's funny. He's not Russian, but his name was Yari Gronstand. Played with him in the minors, and I think he was Finnish or Swedish. And it was so funny. Our coach was Butch Goring, but he couldn't say Butch, so he called him Butch. So we had Yari was a healthy scratch, and then we had an optional practice, and Yari didn't go out. And Butch was like, Yari, you're going to skate today. Like, you're not today, Butch. Like, that's all he said. Not today, Butch. Like, it just and he was unbelievable. Like, there were players that were just unbelievable, but you're like, okay, that's why, I look back, I'm like, there was a reason why guys play in the minors. They're young and they're coming up and they're learning, or they're missing something completely from their game. And it's just, I think about stuff like that. So Boomer, I could name you 20 guys that you wanted more from. I just don't know if all of them played at the NHL level consistently, because the league weeds you out. And if you can't do it, that's it. Like, you go from team to team, and then eventually you're gone. That's it.
I just think of Alex Semin. That's the guy for me where you're like, he had it when he wanted it, and someone made the mistake of giving him a long-term deal, and he just fucking quit on them. They bought him out and put him on one-year deals the rest of the way, and he was fine. That is my fear for the Kuzmenko comp. It's that super high-end, give a fuck waivers massively. I wouldn't want to get into bed on a long-term deal with a 30-year-old there. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, there's just too many. I mean, I played with goalies that were ultra skilled, but they had other things going on where they just couldn't get to that consistency. And it's just, it happens. I guess there's a difference between nowadays. If you want to be a $10 million player and score 40 in the league, like, you have to have that drive. Other guys say I can score 20 in my sleep and I'll be kind of right here, but I'll bounce around because teams are going to get frustrated thinking that you should score 40, but you only score 20. And
that's the thing. This is not a Pavel Brendel situation where you had big numbers somewhere and you come in and it doesn't translate. Numbers are there. This guy scored a bunch of goals last year. This guy
more
scored
goals
some goals
than
this
Lindholm
year.
has points.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
Pavel Brendel, that guy, he came out. I had Pro Ice in the summer one time, and he showed up, and he was this hotshot prospect, and we would play full ice games, and he would stand at center ice looking for a breakaway. I'm not lying. Stand at center ice. Jason Strudwick almost chopped him right in half. Like, he chased him down and two-handed him as hard as I've ever seen, and was screaming at him saying, "Stop cheating." And the kid didn't get it. And basically he wasn't invited back to the ice because I didn't want, I didn't have insurance back then or anything. Jeez. I didn't want this guy to have to carried off the ice. But I remember, like, you mentioned that name, Pavel Brendel, because I think he got a bunch of points with the Hitmen, didn't he? Wasn't he like
Dude, he scored so many goals and feasted on, like you say, stretch passes. If he had 50 goals, he had 48 breakaways and the empty netters galore. He was amazing. He could finish.
Yeah.
It provided there was no one interfering with him getting to the net.
Oh, I'll never forget that. I've seen some wicked slashes in my life. This was in summer hockey in late August.
That's wild.
At North Edmonton rink. And Jason Strudwick had enough of this guy floating around out there. So Big Strud took things into his own hands.
He was a first round. The Rangers, I think, took him in the first round out of the Hitmen, and never really worked. Now we'll wrap this up. Now this is maybe going to be unfair, but I saw this yesterday, and then some things. But I'm going to just walk you through some things. You know what it's like on social media teams. Here's the guys coming to the rink today. Here's what they're wearing. Let's see how they look. There's Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
NHL veteran, looks real sharp, looking real good coming in there. No tie, but that's fine. It's more of a casual thing now, but looking sharp. There's the captain, Michael Backlund. Very much same thing.
Spring.
Well done. Looking sharp. He's got his phone there. Some guys are coming in with their coffees, but he's looking, that's captain material right there. There's my boy, Marty Pospisil. I mean, this guy is right out of the pages of GQ. Look at him. This guy's great. He is great looking fit right there. Not a veteran, but still, so a young guy, but he's got some style for sure. There's Blake Coleman. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Shades match the suit. That's deadly.
Look at the shades. Like, this is an amazing look for, and again, Stanley Cup champion, NHL veteran.
Twice.
So the guys are making their way in. And then
who's this homeless guy?
This is Andrei Kuzmenko. I mean, I don't know why I'm putting that out there, but it just seemed to fit. It's like, and yeah, here's this happy-go-lucky guy. He's got his toque on. It's 20 degrees outside. He's got
You know what, though? The problem is, and I should not talk. I dress like a bum.
Walmart suit?
Yes, the Walmart suit. I guarantee you that sweater's probably $1,200 though.
Yeah, you're probably
like that's the beauty of it. Like, he actually looks good. He just looks casual. And I think that, Boomer, you're talking about it. Optics are everything. So you're like, you've got Kadri, Backlund, Coleman, who's won. And you've got Kuzmenko's like, yeah, ho-hum, just rolling into the rink. This is how I'm going to look. So if a picture has 1,000 words, 1,000 words are like, this guy's not ready to play. Now that's wrong to say.
Yeah.
But he was great. Yeah.
Very
and you know what? I kind of like it. He's the only guy that's smiling, like he's looking at the camera. Oh, hi.
He's a vibe.
Like I feel like I feel like I'm taking a shot at him, but I don't want to be. No. But it just seemed that to me, that's the guy.
That's him. But if you can have one of those on your team, but you better have a bunch of other guys that are kind of all business. Like, that's the way I see it. I'm fine with that. Dress whatever you want to do. Come to play that night. He came to play last night. I thought he was really good. So, sweater, shorts, you name it. Wear a one piece for all I care. Velvet, the velvet fog, be George Costanza. Doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, like, just come to play. And he played last night. So you're right, Boomer. I'd give him a little bit more time because I do like him. He's a very likable, like, I'd never met the guy, but I do kind of like him. Like, from the outside, I'm like, this guy seems to enjoy life. Yeah. So he's got that infectious thing around him, but you still have to play hard. You still have to come to play every night.
I was thinking of you yesterday. Now I'm guessing you saw that Joe Flaherty passed away. Count Floyd passed away yesterday. So at T's and P's.
Caballero.
Yeah. Would you like some syrup?
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking that you maybe would appreciate something like that.
Or he was Floyd Robertson and sitting beside Earl Tannenberg. And believe me, SCTV, I grew up on that. Yeah. And still to this day, Joe Flaherty, John Candy, when John Candy was Billy Stamavolichki, the hockey player, the road hockey player, and his name went from one shoulder all the way down his arm. That was filmed in Fort Saskatchewan, that episode.
Come on.
Because my cousin played for the Fort Saskatchewan Traders at the time, and he's like, this SCTV is out here. My God, I loved all of those characters are still, even Andrea Martin. Remember she was dating Lenny? Kanye, go out. She would just read, all that she would do is repeat words that when people talked.
Yeah. Eugene Levy, of course, right? With Schitt's Creek. He's so good. I actually, it was back when I was doing TV stuff. I went into Edmonton to fill in at Global, and that was the building where they used to shoot SCTV. I felt like I was Saturday Night Live. I felt like I was at 30 Rock almost. It was like, wow, this is where they would have done all that stuff. This is amazing.
It's the best. Honestly, I miss, like, I watch all of those, even when John Candy and I think it was Eugene Levy, they did a Fantasy Island skit, and John Candy was shrunken down, and he was not tattoo, he was Patu. Look up Patu. Like, it just, if you go back and Google these are some of the greatest skits ever. Now, some of them cross the line nowadays. Yeah. If you look back, and I get it, but God, I obviously they're all getting older, passing away, all of that, but they're all legends in my mind. I love them. Orange Whip. Yeah, 3 Orange Whips.
3 Orange Whips. Noodles, appreciate you, buddy. Have a great week.
You bet. Take care. See you guys.
Jamie McLennan joining us on the TELUS Insider Hotline. At TELUS, they are using world-leading technology to drive meaningful change, from transforming healthcare to making our food supply more sustainable, reducing our environmental footprint, connecting Canadians in need. It's TELUS, the most giving company in the world. Learn more at TELUS.com/givesback.
Kuzmenko's an interesting one because there's a lot there that, to your point, Dean, they just haven't had. I just think the timing isn't right.
No, you're right. It's
age and window for the team, but I think he's a great asset to bring back next year and continue to give heavily loaded offensive minutes and first power play reps too. And think about a team like the Islanders, how desperate they are to get scoring.
Oh yeah,
they might get a haul.
Yeah, you might. Yeah,
you have to feed that guy the offense.
Yes. Don't put him in his own end. Like, fuck no. This is a bad defensive player who does not work hard without the puck, but he can do the hardest thing in the league, which is to score goals.
And you know what though? And because I talked about, because I was watching the game. So what is up with Zegras? And I'm watching this guy now because you only see so much on TV. So you're watching him in the game. I feel like Kuzmenko is trying.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
defensively.
He's not trying.
I feel like he is making an effort. I think that there's obviously a message that's being relayed to him, and I think that at least for one night, or at least for a little bit here, I do think that he's been trying. And like Noodles says, I've never talked to the guy. I like the guy. He's kind of goofy. When he came in, he spoke in his intro presser. He was kind of, I don't speak English very well. Like, there's affable. A lot to like about that guy, and you don't like seeing him getting benched. It's like, let's work with the guy.
Well, one question I have is, when he scored 39, was he playing last 2 minutes of 1-goal leads? Like, there is, if you're an elite offensive player, you only have to play to a certain level defensively.
Correct.
You can't be, you know what I mean? You can't be an anchor in your own end. You really, right? Aside from that, a little bit of effort. And if you're in position, no one's asking, and I don't think we should harp on it too much, because if we allow him to go exploit his abilities, who cares? Pavel Bure was not going to dominate below the circles in his own end. He wasn't going to shut down plays. He scored. Now, this guy's not Pavel Bure, but he's an offensively gifted player. Now we're trying to say, hey, he's got to play in his own end. We're nowhere near making the fucking playoffs. Let him play don't be a hindrance in your own end and go score. That's it.
That's exactly what I was thinking. You bitch and moan about not having offense, then you've got a guy that has some world-class skill. And now it's like, well, could you play a little better defense? It's like, you got enough friggin' pluggers. Let them get the goddamn puck out of the corners. Mm-hmm. Let this guy create a little bit. And watching him on the power play, it's weird how they've got him set up at the side of the net. He's like the quarterback at the side of the goal. Am I going back to the point? Am I going right through the goal mouth? Am I going into the slot for the one-time shot? He's helped. That power play has been better. We're talking small sample. I get it. But over the last week or number of games, it has been better, and I think he's been a part of it.
Absolutely.
Big picture, different story. I just think in the short term, the small, the micro, here's a guy with some talent, and we've been so devoid of it. feed him, help him, let him do his thing and get other guys to play the like you say. If you're protecting a lead in the last two, let some other guys do it.
Yeah, your fear is that he can be that guy on bad teams that lights it up, and that good teams can't find room for, because again, you can't play him when it matters. But you don't have to worry about that here, because I don't think you're that serious about getting into bed for 5 years. Like Talkett said no to this guy. He's like, no, healthy. And he comes in and out. Like he's looked great for a week. There's been weeks where you're like, do something. You're already mad defensively. Do something. And so when he's on, he looks great. What's that?
He's not perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's so then
we're on the same page. Play the crap out of him here until you move him. But I would be very, very concerned.
All the guys on this team that deserve heavy criticism, he's down the list to me. He's down the list.
He was a throw-in in that deal. This is a win already for the Flames.
Whether Talkett liked them, Vancouver's in a different scenario. They got a different group of players. Talkett's his own man. That's great. He didn't like him. I just watching that game last night. That line was far and away the best, and he was far and away the best player on the ice. So if we're going to shit on guys for not playing or playing defense, there's some culprits that maybe should be on that list.
Yeah, we're not shitting on him. We're saying he's had a great week here and that he's an immensely talented player. What we're talking about is a bigger picture. Short term, I'm with you. Play the crap out of this guy. Figure out how good he can look.
Yeah.
Like what to your point, right? Like what do we even? You got 8 games. What the fuck can go wrong here? You've missed. You've already missed. Like give people the rock. Let see what they can do. Who cares? What's the worst that happens? Your draft spot gets higher.
I don't even care. You got 8 games this year and start out next year. They're gonna try and have the system and this and that. If your system is going to be that, then you have to move him earlier. If you're not going to allow him to be, but again, it goes back to Boom's point, and we've all made the point, and I think we're all on the same page. He isn't that guy. He's not your 200-foot player.
No.
He's offensively talented. Let him be that. There are teams that have tons of success that are making the playoffs right now that have offensive players that don't play well defensively. Not everyone is a 200-foot player, and nor do you want.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and so there's tons of guys if you're going to be a 20-goal guy, the coach, it drives him nuts. If you're going to score 30-plus, you can live with it. And you're like, wow, this is a rare thing. Not many players ever hit 30. Never mind a first-year guy from another league that doesn't speak the language. Like he's got incredibly rare skills and tools here.
So he's 30-goal guy?
Seems like it. I mean, his shooting percentage was insane last year, and that Vancouver team was brutal, and he had some talent around him. But I mean, look, if you get him ozone starts and lots of power play time here, why not 30? He's kind of gone around that clip since he got here when you take out the games he's missed.
Mm-hmm.
And it has sort of been in fits and spells, I think, with always ill and he's dealing with a little tweak, and Huska put him on the 4th line and put Hunt up there. Like, you got to remember, we've just watched his best week as a Flame, maybe outside of that debut in Boston where he scored a couple right after the All-Star break.
But that's just it. My concern would be that Huska's trying to, and I applaud Huska for what he's done this year, but I think in this circumstance, I've told you this story. My buddy Strudel was coaching Bedard in Regina. And I phoned him up and say, what's this Bedard kid like? Oh, Retro, this kid is next level. Unbelievable. But I got to get him to play in his own end.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right? Like, come on.
Yeah, if you're trying to sculpt the perfect hockey player out of clay, then yes, you need to get him better in his own zone. But you're not going to have the perfect player. I would just feed this guy's strengths. So like you say, if it ends up being a long-term deal, the guy gets more comfortable and he feels more at home and he's more consistent. And then let's sign him to a 5-year deal. He'll be 30, whatever. Or you get those numbers up because I think when he's comfortable in it, he's a 30-goal guy. You'll
Yeah, I
get
think
something
that's
for him
kinda
at the deadline if you want to move him.
Yeah, I think I think where you might find the most value is there will be hesitancy for teams to give him term, and that's partly with the makeup we've talked about, and it's partly just wingers. Like, if you're a center, you get paid. Wingers just don't. Like, it's unless you're an elite guy, they just come and go. Like Anthony Beauvillier's had 30 in the league. He got traded twice this year for 5th rounders. Like, they're just, if you're not a dynamic winger, there's just tons of them, and you're seeing that with the. What's that?
Sorry, I was going to say, now was Semin the guy that always had the career year in his like he would just explode in his career in his final year of his contract, and then it would dip back down, and then it's his last year, boom, he would explode, and then it was just we're just going to be giving you 1-year deals.
They bought him out and then put him on 1 year, and then in Carolina he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
McGillney was notorious. Now McGillney was a special player, but McGillney always had huge contract years.
Well, Yager kicked it into neutral for a few years in Washington there too before he went to Broadway. Like, this is not that outlandish to suggest that this happens in this league.
Yeah.
Not the guys aren't trying, but it's just that give a fuck has to be so high 82 times a year. Some of them are like, no, I'll give it to you 50, 60 times. I can't.
Let's do this. Sorry, Ryan. Let's do some opening statements. Last night, Flames play. It's the day after. Opening statements for McLeod Law. Shane King is a partner in the litigation and dispute resolution group at McLeod Law. Specializing in areas like employee rights, being laid off or terminated can be hard. Shane will review your situation, make sure that you've been treated fairly and as the law requires, using a practical approach and plain language, not legal jargon. He lives just over here.
Is that right?
Shane, it just lives over here. Just a normal guy, but one of the very best at what he does. That's what McLeod, just normal people, Calgarians, but the very best at what they do. It's what you get at McLeod Law. McLeod-law.com. 5-3. The Ducks do beat the Flames. The Ducks retro had 1 win in their previous 13 games. And I don't know. I listened to Huska's post game, and I know you guys did the post game last night. I don't know. Can it be a subconscious thing where you take teams lightly?
I think it's absolutely that.
Because when you look on the surface, the Flames should not be taking anybody lightly. Absolutely nobody. But I just wonder in your subconscious, this team they're no good. We're better than they are. Let's just go out and it's going to be point night. Because it was not point night. The Flames were no good. And I was actually impressed by the Ducks.
I just don't think that I've said it for the last couple of weeks, kind of since the trade deadline. You dump those guys, you're battling for a playoff spot. The reality that you're not making the playoffs kind of sinks in, and then Anaheim comes to town. Yeah, it's a mental MF.
If this was a one-off, you would just say, "Oh, it happens." But again, we'll talk about it in the Pinder Report. There are 4 teams that are significantly worse than everyone else in the league this year. Columbus swept the Flames in the season series. Chicago, 2-1. Anaheim, they're 1-1 with, and they lost their only game against San Jose. I can't explain it any other way than I don't think it's intentional or a decision to work less hard, but there's a belief when they look around, we got this. We just got to go out and be working, we'll be fine. But it's not like, holy shit, we got Boston by a goal. Best period of our season, boys. Let's go get it. Like, it's just, you're just wired that way as humans.
It's a fear thing, because when you go into Boston or the Rangers or Florida or Toronto or any of those higher end teams, Edmonton, guess what you're scared of? A 9-1 drubbing. Getting your ass handed to you. They're not, you know what I mean? So you play with a level of fear, a level of intensity, a little of dedication. You watch Anaheim come to town, or you go to Anaheim or Columbus or Chicago. Okay, yeah, another game. We're gonna, and you think you're ready, but you just aren't. You just aren't ready. You're not scared of shit because you're going, how bad can it be? We'll be fine. And you take your foot off the gas. There's something to be learned by that. Having a little bit of fear all the time is a good thing. A little fear of losing, and they don't think they're going to lose against those shitty teams. And then that's what happens.
And that's what makes the great ones exactly that. Like Gretzky rarely had off nights. Crosby rarely has off nights. These are humans, not robots. Most of these guys have 10 to 15 shitty games.
And on the flip side, if you see teams that feast on these lower ranking teams, yeah, but look who was on their schedule. Look at the teams they beat. So they get criticized for hammering the bottom feeders. Look, you can't handle your schedule. You play who you play, and if you beat up on the bottom feeders, then that's a lot of times that's the mark of a good team.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mark of a good team that doesn't do this shit. It's one of the things that we've talked a lot about it, and the proof is there. All you need to do is go and look at the W's and then L's, and then W's and then L's. For all that the Flames have been this year, and I don't know if it's a concern, but one of the main aspects or things that you need to figure out is that they're streaky as shit for whatever reason. And to your point, it's not because of level of competition. It's not we're at home, we're great, we're on the road. It's just we lose 4, then we win 4. Then you lose 3, then you win 3. How the hell does that happen? You need to find some level of consistency, and maybe it's a one-off, but it's one of the things that when this season is over and you go back and do the autopsy or whatever, certainly at least from Christmas on, has to be just one of the streakiest teams we've ever seen.
It's wild, the runs.
2-5-1 to start.
Yeah. They just lost 5 in a row. They have a 5-game winning streak. It was 4-4 back and forth. And maybe that's just random in the way things go, but it just does feel like we've 2 weeks. Okay, maybe they even could add. Geez, they're only a point out of the playoffs on Feb 10th, and then they lose 5 in a row. Like, holy shit! Like, blow this up. There's nothing here. They have no pieces, and the truth is clearly somewhere in the middle. But it's hard to be rational and have that big perspective when they're always on a streak of like 3 or 4 more, whether it's losses or wins.
Thought you were going to say something there. I was just going to say, as a coach, that has to be one of the things that you would preach is consistency. Let's be who we are. We play how we play. Don't worry about the opponent. But that has been a struggle for sure.
They go back to Wolf, you figure?
I would think so. Now, a question for you. Was there any? And I don't know if you talked about it. I profess I did not watch Afterburner last night.
That's fine. Yeah, there's 90 minutes waiting for you when you want it.
5-3 game, 2 minutes left. Markstrom never even came out of the crease for an attempt to pull the goaltender. Were you at all surprised at that?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't remember where they were at in terms of possession and zone and stuff.
They had offensive zone because I was
and a couple of games ago they did do that when
because I was telling my kid, I'm like, okay, watch, because the goalie's going to come out here now, and they're probably going to pull the goalie and get the extra skate. And it was never. I wondered if somebody would ask post game, which I wonder if that's part of, because Huska did say we had one line. We were no good. It was kind of one of those as critical as Ryan Huska gets post game conferences last night. Yeah. The one line, Kadri, Kuzmenko, and Pospisil. Mm-hmm. And beyond that, he really had nothing glowing to say about anyone else. I wonder if that's all retro, if that's kind of a statement to the rest of the group. We're down 2. There's 2 minutes left. We got an offensive zone face-off. No, we're not pulling the goalie. Fuck it.
It's 100% a statement.
100%. Where you are in the standings and season?
Yeah, it's an easy one to send, too. If you guys don't want to show up, fine. We won't do it. Now, I think because it is, clearly he's not doing that if you're fighting for a playoff spot. But it's an easy thing to pull. You can go both ways, though. Like, Keenan did it to us once. Obviously, we were a playoff team, but he did it to us once, and the fellows were not happy. It's like
where he didn't pull.
He didn't pull. We were down by 2, and he didn't pull, and everyone's like, "What in the?" Now, again, it's a different situation because we were in a playoff spot, and it's a little. It's harder to watch then than you already know you're out. So, but that's Huska sending a message. That's one of his harsher message, I would say.
That's easier to do. In this scenario for sure. When you really
totally is, but it's totally is easier to do. But do not think for a second that not every guy on that bench knew exactly what had happened.
Yeah,
and what the message is.
That. Yeah, I mean, the game was just so over at that point, and it was such a completely forgettable effort for most of them.
Just because we've seen it happen a lot, where it's 5. Are you really? Oh, really? You're pulling the goalie, And no, because you play to win every game. We're playing to win. If we lose 6-3, what's the difference? We lose 5-3. No one cares. So I did wonder if that's maybe what we were looking at. We talked a little bit yesterday, just kind of kicking things around. Milestones that are up for grabs for guys. Coleman is at 29. He's been there for a bit. Sharangovich does get the redirect last night. He's now at 29. Uyghur, another couple points. He gets to 46.
4 to go. Wow.
Right? It's 8 now, right? Is that the number? 8 games left?
Yep.
Because we were talking 9 games yesterday. Yep. So, man, if Uyghur he's got 18 goals. If you get Uyghur to 20, 46 points, it feels like 50 points is in the
44 was his career high. He's matched that and bested it now.
And you'd hate for Coleman and Sharangovich not to get 30 when you're at 29. So just kind of things for guys to have some sort of, like you said, Retro, you got to have something. Let's go get this kid his 10 goals as a rookie. Let's find some things that if it's a galvanizing thing, maybe it isn't, but at least it's something to play for over the next 3 weeks.
It's and if the group's good, and Rasmus talked about it the other day, how he likes the guys. I think it was after the Saturday game, right? On Monday we talked about it. Then those should be things that everyone's working towards. Coaches included. You should be setting those guys up, and not game 82. Not game 82. The rest of the way, you want to give those guys all the prime opportunity to get those points and achieve those accomplishments. Because that not only is great for the guys this year, it sends a message that you're a guy that cares about your players for next year as far as the coaching staff's concerned.
God, you need something to focus on positive here, right?
But I agree, because sometimes I feel like there can be that divide, right? Retro, you've got your coaches and you got your players. And the coach is an asshole and the coach is doing this and we're whatever. But when the coach is, no, you're going out with the net's empty, get out there. Okay, we got to get this guy. It does, I feel it can bring a team together, even moving forward into next year. Guys, remember that shit.
Yeah, clearly it's not going to be about this year.
Yeah.
And we get so focused on, what's the culture you're creating here in these last 8 games, 10 games, 12 games. Go back and look how Ottawa played the last games. Do you think that had anything to do with this year? Like, you're just trying to get them through this so that everyone can decompress and come back next year. I think the narrative of, you can't let losing culture seep in. It's like, fucking Ottawa always goes on a heater once they're eliminated. Does it ever carry over to the next year? Like, it's a little too narrative street for me, where it's like, is there really anyone that's looked at it and said the last 15 games have anything to do with the next year? Like, it's a new roster, a new team, it's a new camp. You just want to make this not miserable for the fellas, and to a point when come work, leave the rink, enjoy being a pro hockey player.
So, Rhett, and it's kind of putting you on the spot, because I think I kind of put myself on the spot yesterday when we were talking about this. So 29 goals here, Sharangovich, this and that. For this season, would you, if you were to give, if not even a grade, but just compare this year for Jonathan Huberdeau to last year, would you say he's been better than last year or not as good?
Or same? Yeah.
I would say he's been better.
Right. And I agree. That's kind of been my feel. I feel like there's been
some of it goes to the fact that last year was a season after 115 points.
Yeah.
And he was clearly miserable.
And he was non-existent. Clearly, I don't give a shit if he's miserable or not. But as far as my take on how he's played, it has absolutely been better. Is it where you want a $10.5 million player to be? No.
God, no.
But I haven't been appalled at him. This was the year before. I was disgusted with some of his performances. This year, I feel like he's found it a little bit, and there seems to be following the biggest drop off ever in NHL history. He's made baby steps forward. He's made some steps forward. So what to expect for next year, I don't know. But I would say, I've liked his game more this season.
Well, so the point that I was going to make is I agree with you. I think all of us, he's been better this year. Well, Huberdeau is going to need 4 goals and 9 points over to the rest of the year to match last year's disappointing totals.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if we asked you this question in December, you would have said he's been way worse than last year, because he was. We're watching the best half of a season he's had in Calgary. He was fucking awful the first half of the year. Huska benched this guy for the third period in the fall. We've watched 3 pretty good months of Huberdeau, forgetting how bad October, November, December was.
Yeah.
You're right, Ryan, and I do forget that, because now that you bring it up, it was like, okay, we're at a point now where we can sit him without any repercussions,
Yes.
and I don't care if he sits for the rest of time, because he's not doing anything. I completely forgot. So my recency bias is clear, but I do think he's had a better year. It's recent.
And to be fair, the things that matter the most for athletes are what you've seen recently. Like, I don't really give a shit what he did in Florida anymore. That's ancient history. It does nothing to do with what he's going to look like next year. What you see in the second half of this year is most likely to look like next year, because that's who he is today. And we had 1 point in December. Someone said in the comments, holy fuck, he's almost been a point per game player in the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan mentioned that yesterday. We were just talking about Huberdeau. 46 points. He had 55 last year. So
he's not going to, probably.
Wait a minute. Like, we were out of our minds last year with how terrible a season
60-point
it was.
drop.
And he's got to bust his ass to get back to those numbers this year. It's a beaten horse. I get it. The guy's
30
not
points in
worth
the
money.
second half and 16 in the first. That's sort of the January 1st being the cutoff. Like, it's 2 different players almost. Not that the second one's worth 8 million, never mind 10.5, but the first one looked like a fringe NHLer. Look, Austin Czarnik can give you 16 points in half a season, and that's the way he was spotted into the lineup.
What I was appalled with was that the coach had been changed, and I think that he was a major part of having not the driving force, and all summer we're talking about, my training's good this year. I'm ready to go. And then it was, you're awful. You're awful.
There was some hope, right? There was some hope that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you could unlock him a little bit with a different atmosphere, coach, that whole thing, but no, sir.
If he plays the way the second half, again, we have to throw the contract out the window. It was a shit contract.
And you can't move it. It's the immovable it's the immovable object. So you're stuck with it. So forget the contract.
Yeah.
You have to eliminate the contract from your mind and go, I want 60 points. I want 60, 65. If you got to 70 points, you'd be doing I'd buy a Huberdeau jersey. Right? Like,
I'd love to see you wear that.
This is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The 65-point guy would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
It's wild, and I think he's kind of on pace for that in terms of Jan, Feb, March. He's not quite a point per game, but he's 30 points in 37 games. Like, if you prorate the New Year Huberdeau, you're looking at a 60-plus point guy. That's like,
and which I love,
like found money.
That's awesome. If you really want to dig into it, which I'm happy if he's a 60-point guy. Like I just said, we're happy. The problem I have with some of it is that you don't notice so much.
No, he's so peripheral.
Right? It's not
all the things you said about Zegras, Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Cute, low percentage plays. Definitely looks like he wants to be seen as trying, but falls down a ton, just overpassing,
slow,
doesn't defend well, doesn't move well. If you just pretend the cap is $82.5 million next year and he's a $5 million player, you'll save yourself a lot of sleep.
Mm-hmm. Just lie to yourself like I lie to myself every day.
What do you lie
You
about?
are a good person. You're a good guy. You have people like you.
Do you believe that when you tell yourself that?
You just got to say, you say it enough, Ryan. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You just kind of convince yourself and you push down all the other stuff and just kind of, I hear all the voices. There's all the voices. You just kind of, which ones do you want to pay attention to?
So was that Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy?
Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy.
Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
Yeah, that's as soon as we're done the show, I'll head down to the basement and people like me.
Just get on the bike. That'll help your head.
Peter Klein at McLeod Law. He's the personal injury guy. You know that. But did you know he's also the go-to guy in Calgary for your disability insurance claim? We've been telling you a long time. If your long-term disability insurance company is refusing to pay insurance benefits to you, you contact Peter. He'll get you your disability benefits that you paid for and deserve, and your peace of mind. That and more. Whatever. I mean, if it's business, is it personal? Whatever your challenges are, McLeod Law is there to help. McLeod-law.com. What'd you do yesterday, Retro? So you fly from direct out of Buffalo City right into Fort Lauderdale?
No. The shoveler booked this trip, which always adds some sort of, I don't even know what the word to use is, but yeah. So we drove to Toronto to fly to Fort Lauderdale.
You got to drive north to go south. That makes sense to me, Rhett.
Yeah, you do. Leave the country and then come back north.
Mm-hmm.
Did the border crossing guy say, "What the H?
The hell are you doing?
What are you doing?" Was there any of that?
I think it's actually surprising how many people do that region up to Toronto and direct flights to different areas. Buffalo, smaller center, less direct flights to the big cities you want to go.
Well, and honestly, we don't have borders here that get crossed often. It's very normal in Vancouver and in Ontario and Quebec to just zip across and go to the other country. Here, it's 2.5 hours to go where? An empty state. It's not what Ontario and upstate, or I guess Western New York are.
So you get to you're a Floridian. You get there, and what did we do? Is it do we have a nice pool at the place where we're staying? Is it straight to the ocean?
Straight to the ocean. Boys like the waves. Got to get into the waves. Like I said, it's a little bit windy. The waves are average, not great, but it's the ocean. You get out there, splash around a little, a couple margaritas, some chips and salsa. Life is good.
Blended or on the rocks?
Oh, good question.
On the rocks, salt, and huge music fest this weekend. The Tortuga.
Really? Tortuga.
So we're maybe Friday. Friday, if I didn't have to work, I'd go to Tortuga.
You should go after work. I feel like if anything isn't.
Yeah, is the music fest
2 p.m. Eastern? It's wrapping up.
2 p.m. Eastern. They shut it down. Thanks for coming, everybody. Please file out peacefully.
All day. It's an all-day, big 3-day weekend event. So there'll be some drunk kids there, eh? Just sloppy.
Yeah. And adults. Yeah, that's Florida party, beach party, baby.
Yeah, but
what was I just thinking of? I had the. Any sharks or crocodiles, alligators,
snakes.
My youngest is so pumped. So I don't know where he was. I think he was at a hockey tournament and he went to an aquarium. He likes animals. He's young, 10, and so he got a bracelet, and the bracelet is associated with a shark that has been egged. Well, wouldn't you be damned if a damn shark isn't on Hollywood Beach, which is about a 20-minute drive south of Fort Lauderdale Beach. So the shark is out there and we know it. Yeah, because he got a code and he can go online and check it and see where the shark is.
It's like his pet shark.
Yeah. So Babu, the hammerhead, is just floating around waiting to chomp on my right Achilles.
Babu!
It's crazy how much territory some of these sharks will cover. Like, oh yeah, I was hanging up in New York for a bit. Now I'm back in Florida. I'm going to zip down to Cuba and eat some shit. Come back. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah, they do whatever they want.
Flights.
Yeah, they're not. They don't worry about customs. They just go.
Yeah. They're the bully of the sea.
They're like young Rhett. They don't work. The rules don't apply to them.
No, they sure don't.
Alpha.
Couple of, I guess, house cleaning things we want to take care of here. We tell you all, you go to nationgear.ca is where you can find a lot of times if we're doing an event or if we're holding, doing different things, merchandise, nationgear.ca. Now you will have to wade through some Oiler junk on there.
We do apologize.
All of the Nation Network, they use the same website, but Flames Nation in there, nationgear.ca. Here's what's going on right now. If you want to get some of your merch, it's Merch Madness in April.
See what they did there?
I do.
I feel like they missed a little.
If you'd have done anyway, from April 1st to 7th, Merch Madness is on in April. 20% off all regular season merch.
No, see, this is what's happening. Regular season will end on the 18th. And you know the fans in Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg, rest of Western Canada, they have appointment viewing every other night once you get past mid-April. They'll be launching new gear for the playoff runs, but regular season merch, last call, 20% off. Let's go.
Which would seem to suggest there might be some playoff merch coming.
It sure does, yes.
If you keep going back to nationgear.ca, you're not seeing the Flames playoff gear showing up. Just go back check the next day. Keep going back. Free shipping on all orders over $200. This is another one of those things people ask, how do we get the hoodie? How do we get that? It's a slow build, but we're getting there. And for the show is going to be over, but there will be more merch, different types of merch available as by the end of summer and into next season.
You are a scoundrel.
20% off all regular season merch. Go to nationgear.ca.
Barnbird hoodie, $16 off. Look at this.
How about it?
Baby.
Yeah. Pretty
blue,
good.
the blacks and the reds, both of them.
Decent.
$8 off those lids, the Flames Nation lids, Rhett loves. Barnburner tea under $30. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. There you go. Nationgear.ca between now and the 7th of April, which I believe is Sunday. Also, before we go any further, it's back.
Oh, baby.
Still don't know if it's just the second annual. Either way, we're doing it again. It's the playoff draft. It is back at the Great Eagle Resort and Casino. Last year, we were sold tight. We are on our way to being a sellout event once again, Friday, April 19th at the Great Eagle Resort and Casino. So what is it? Well, we set up a ballroom. We get one of the big conference rooms. We got a whole bunch of tables. We've got a podium, got the microphone. We are doing the draft barn burner style. Tables of 8. You're going to have your lanyards, your team, just kind of like you see the guys. Oh, hi, I'm Bill Terwilliger from the Toronto Maple Leaf. All that sort of stuff. You're going to have your lanyards. You're going to be sitting down at your table. You're going to be able to, okay, so who are we taking here? What are we doing? Round number 1. Everybody comes up, makes their first round selection. Now, this is the NHL playoffs, of course. Who had first overall last year?
I would think McDude, but I would hate to.
Because I know that
probably
Draisaitl went, and then there were some trade talks. I know
even before the first selection,
there
was a huge donation willing to be made to Kidsport for a trade up in the draft. A lot of pre-draft jostling. And remember when Berkey swapped into the 2-3 to draft the Sedins, like a master class of moving picks around. We almost closed one of those last year on the draft floor in the final moments.
Not sure that it's allowed, but we were, as it evolves, we just kind of arbitrarily make up rules as we go. So that's how that goes. But it is back for the second straight year. Friday, April 19th. The NHL season will be over. The playoffs will begin the next night. So you're going to know every team that's in, all the players, who's healthy, who's not, who's playing with who. Do your homework and then be ready to draft a championship team on the 19th. You can get involved. Tables of 8. Email Eden at kidsportcalgary.ca. That's EDEN, Eden at kidsportcalgary.ca to register your team.
I think we're 3 more teams off the board yesterday, so don't sleep on this, folks. Do not sleepy on it.
And I know it's close. Today's the whatever it is, the 4th or whatever, but
2 weeks and 2 days. Let's go.
I would say, I say it a lot, don't dilly-dally.
That's right.
Don't do it. Don't dilly-dally.
The night is a banger, and the Grey Eagle does a great job hosting, and then somehow, some way, people slid over to the old Nino, who was roaring that night. Good times are had by many.
Mm-hmm.
Village Honda's back to defend. Derek Newman is in. Our pals Jay's got another team for this year. Like, it's starting to fill up, folks.
Yeah.
We want you to come out. We want you to be involved, though. I don't want you showing up just ho-hum.
Yeah,
have
like
some outfits, have a GM, have a plan.
You need some drunks,
right?
You need some nerds, you need some social guys, you need some
garb.
Yeah.
Have a thing. Have a there may be a prize for that. We don't know. There might be a prize for a mystery player if he is selected. You know, Tom McGillicuddy of the Boston Bruins. When he goes in round 7, ding, 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 the bells could go off and you might win a prize. Ryan, I will say this, had a brilliant idea last year. What we're going to do, and it happens in every draft. At some point, someone is going to draft a player who's already been drafted. And Ryan's idea was, we're going to make them drink shots.
You're going to have to do a shot of like rye whiskey.
Yeah, you're going to have to do a shot.
No chase.
So basically, the next team drafted somebody who's already been drafted so they could get the free shots.
It went on for a while until we're like, okay, now you're going to have to buy me shots because I'm done.
There needed to be more of a penalty as opposed to a reward for the act. So we're learning as we go.
And the Village Honda fellas, they felt so guilty, they actually made a donation to Kidsport after a ball.
Yeah, we're very sorry. We're going to make another donation.
It's another $100 to Kidsport. Sorry about that.
Very sorry. Very sorry. I think we had about 3 or 4 of them.
We sure did.
And the best part of it is they're excited. They can't believe how dumb the room is.
Oh my gosh.
That they've forgotten this guy.
Leon Draisaitl. It's round 7. You're like, I'm sorry.
All right. So we do need to come up with some harsh and hard penalties.
Yes.
For when these teams F up.
Sequin Blazer?
I could go with it again. I know where it's at.
It worked last year. They did not disappoint. You were silver, I was gold, I think it was.
Or my Kiprasov leather. I could do that as well.
Oh, that's
how sharp.
That's probably we have to go. The Kiprasov cowhide, yes.
Just don't lose it. It has a habit of getting lost. So again, Eden, EDEN at kidsportcalgary.ca. Today is Wednesday. These teams won't last because we have to put a cap on it.
16. Everyone needs
16
the chance
teams.
of starting goalie.
You got to have a goalie sort of thing. So anyway, that's a scoop there. Let's do the Pinder Report. It's a presentation of Village Honda. Retro yesterday, dummy over there. It was like the first clip. I got coughing and gagging, and then my throat was all. I goes.
Guess he doesn't want to have smoked alligator. I thought it was nice with crawfish. Yeah,
so gross.
What? It's delicious. It's somewhere between chicken and fish.
The Honda Civic at Village Honda continues to lead the way in value, reliability, and performance. The 2024 Civic received a 10 out of 10 in Car and Driver's comprehensive vehicle testing, and the Civic Type R, the Civic Si, ranked number 1 and number 2, respectively, in the Sport Compact category. You can test drive one today at Village Honda, located in the Northwest Auto Mall, because, of course, and you know this, I barely need to tell you, they are your dealership for life. And they present
Ryan Pinder
and the Pinder Report.
Welcome to the Pinder Report. It's the world's only destination for crocodiles and inverse standings. You're welcome. I don't know who Bolo is, but appreciating the love. And Dean said, what have we done here? We've created a monster, and it's taking over. So let's start with the ever popular inverse standings after we have a little check-in on last night's Marathon Afterburner. I believe a non-Kerr record with Gold and myself.
At this point of the season, you kind of have to look at the silver linings. They saw some of that tonight with guys like On Kuzmenko having a really big outing. He's got the skill. I mean, nobody can dispute that. He's now got as many goals in his tenure with the Flames as Elias Lindholm has points.
Jeez.
Since being traded to the Vancouver Canucks.
They both missed some time. This is as good as he's looked outside of maybe that first game burst where it's like the new toy and the excitement. Once that settled down, this has been his best run of play, I think. I don't think it's a stretch to suggest you could get a haul, not necessarily a Lindholm type haul, but a solid solid one for Kuzmenko at this point. He's exactly what a team like the New York Islanders, for example, would covet.
Yeah, I'm on the pump and dump train with you too.
Thank
I
you.
know there are Flames fans who are in favor of them extending Andre Kuzmenko. And frankly, it's not something that should be dismissed out of hand depending on what the numbers are. With the Flames, I mean, talk about Sharon Govich. He's a couple years younger. He has that added versatility to them as being capable of playing center.
Yep.
I think he'll be the guy who they prioritize out of those two in terms of wanting to sign him. I don't even know what that looks like.
Kind of with him. If you got to pick one, and maybe you end up picking none, or maybe you pick both, but I will. The consistency of Sharon Govich, the
Apples and
ability to
oranges a
play
bit,
center.
though, right? One guy's
know
younger.
The similarity is that they're both UFAs next year, and you have to make decisions on them. And that's the only point that we're putting them next to each other. What's your decision on Mangiapane? What's your decision on Kuzmenko? What's your decision on Sharon Govich? Because you have to make decisions in the next 11 months on them before next year's deadline.
Agreed.
We'll move.
So Rhett's doing the side eyes. What's happening there? Is this one of those viral clips? Is the shoveler? Is she?
Shoveler's changing outfits. What's going on there?
Giving you one of these over
No. One of the smarter kids is in the room mucking about.
Yeah.
Don't disappoint me.
Again, like always.
Is that the wine drinker or is that a different one? Oh, there's got the shades on.
Is he wearing a mask? Are you guys wearing masks down there?
No, we're mask free.
Are you?
Just like just like I did, just like during COVID when I came down here and lived.
Because I hear masks, they're everywhere down there. Yeah.
The loss to the Ducks. Boy, it would have been interesting if that was just one of a small number of losses to bad teams.
Is this you promoting your own tweet?
This is the conversation
Sure
piece.
is.
This is you.
They have played,
posting so you couldn't have just said this.
I have.
You
said it
needed
on
to
the show.
show us your tweet.
Some people they like to learn visually, Dean, not just through their ear holes.
Right.
It's well written,
Playing
Ryan.
250 hockey, 250 points percentage against the worst four teams in the league.
That'll get you a draft pick.
And again, meanwhile, they swept the season series with Boston, Winnipeg, 2-0-1 against Vegas. I don't.
Is there anything else that you've told us on the show and then put into print form that you'd like to show us?
That's it for today.
If you want to do you want to take a minute or two and type out your Kuzmenko take and then we could post it?
That'd be a lot of words. I do have a sandwich for you later. Hang on. Here we go. Schedule looks like this, Dean. There's California road trip coming up. But before then, some playoff-bound Prairie rivals. It is the Jets on Thursday. Pike and Kent have you for Afterburner tomorrow night. And then the In the Dome boys got a couple pops, hang with the fellas late Saturday night. A few more F-sharps on that program. Perfect for a late night on a Saturday. Final Battle of Alberta, third indoors and fourth of the season.
Are you trying to show us something or hide something from us? Rhett?
Trying to hide the shovelers in her bikini strutting around.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday.
She could
now
hear
this
me.
is
She
crazy.
could hear me. Damn.
Is the
Rhett was joking about
whipped cream's out. Are we having pie? Oh.
Whipped cream. The full solar eclipse thing, Rhett, when is that? It's coming up.
Monday, Ryan, and Buffalo is right in the path of max eclipsing.
So there is a line that goes across North America where it is going to be a complete eclipse, and then most of the rest of the continent, partial or just meh. We're in the meh territory here in Calgary.
No, we're in the massive.
Yes, you're in the deep trough there.
How long? Like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes of
eclipsing?
4 minutes, almost 4 minutes in the dark.
Wow.
Hardcore eclipsing.
Yes.
So also, along with Buffalo, Erie in the OHL, they happen to be in this toll blackout band.
The belt?
The belt of
the
darkness.
Eclipsing belt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardcore 4-minute belt. There's no hotel rooms. There's 100,000 people in.
I told you this.
Erie. I know. So this is where it gets good. They're expecting 200,000 people in the city of 100,000. There are no hotels. So in the OHL playoffs, Hunter Brestevich, acquired in the Vancouver Canucks deal, their games 6 and 7, if necessary, will have to be postponed or moved due to the solar eclipse. Transportation.
It's a state of emergency.
So is that what it is? Because
They've
of
already-
accommodation?
Yes, and there's 200,000 people in a place that has 100,000. This is like Stampede on heroin. It's way more than that. You can't get a bloody hotel
People are
room.
coming from around
traveling.
the world.
So they have moved it. This is official now.
This is correct. If you read the bottom one, 6 and 7 are if necessary games. They've been moved back if they happen.
People are nuts.
This is due to the solar eclipse. That might be my favorite Pike bomb.
Well, state of emergency. Highways are going to be shut down, just stopped. Everything.
God,
I
are
don't know
we
how they're going to
soft.
fly. I got to plug my phone in, so I'm changing sound. Hope this works.
Yeah, you're doing great. Let's go to the Penguino.
Can you
Jack
hear
is
me?
back, baby. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So what happens? You're like the laptop's out of juice or what?
It's going to give us a show.
No, the
for that.
laptop wouldn't work for some.
Oh, of
The
course,
laptop wasn't working. I'm on the phone, and now my phone's dying, and so I got to go without the headset.
That's going to be great. Let's go to the Penguins, who Jack is back. The medicine for we have to watch Washington, Detroit, or Philly in the first round Blues.
Please
It could
give
be.
us. Yeah, you know what? Give us the Penguins. If like, no Islanders. God, no Islanders. Please.
And look at the schedule. They play all these teams they're chasing. One against the Caps there, one against the Wings there, one against the Islanders there. This team is close to controlling their own fate.
You know what that makes me do? Makes me do one of these. Ooh. Yeah.
Not an easy schedule. They got the Bruins, the Preds, the Lightning. But I'll tell you what, the Leafs, I would love to see sit in there more than that dopey Washington club that's not good at anything.
That's my eager anticipation. When there's something like that I'm really looking forward to, that's exciting. Ooh.
I envision your wife loving that. The person you live with, I'll bet if you do that around her, that would be something that's really
So
like.
the kids are all gone on a sleepover.
I got Barry Manilow queued up on vinyl.
And then I get hit over the head with a frying pan, and it goes dark for a while.
Just like that crocodile
I
yesterday.
lose, yeah,
Right on the snout.
weird.
I've separated the divisional shit and the wild card shit. This is basically all that matters. There's 2 spots for 5 teams. Which 2 do you want in? Let's pick some horses.
And you have that wrinkle of the Metro division, right? So Detroit is wild card or bust. The other 4 are kind of
So you can pick a Detroit or you can pick Metro teams, but 2 of those 5 have to go in. Rhett, who do you like?
Philly and Pitt.
Oh, the Pennsylvania. Transylvania. Okay, do you know who you got?
Oh man. I worry about the Islanders because they've got the best goaltending out of the group.
And they're boring as shit. If
And
you
they're
think Washington's
boring.
boring, it's the same. I'm going to go Detroit, Pittsburgh, Dean. I want Kane and DeBrincat, and that first time back, there should be some juice in that building. And the Penguins, everyone counted them out and dead, except Jack, who said, bring Sullivan back to earth. He fired him into the sun last week.
That's right.
Sullivan back to earth. We're going.
They straightened Sullivan out. Now they're going again. Way to go, Jack.
Oh boy, Jackie.
Not a boy, Jack.
Do we have a quick take on Penguins' chances here? 3 out.
I think they get in.
Oh yeah.
Ever since that fucking Philly homer Frank shit on them for like 10 minutes.
Oh wow, Frank taking strays.
They've been hot. They're going on a run.
That's
They're
kind
going
of
to
a
get
direct
Philly
hit.
out. I'm going Pitt and Detroit.
All right, it's a
All
trade.
right.
It'll be fun.
I think they get in.
Really? No.
Oh, really?
Also,
Okay,
the
good.
Pirates started 5-1. Shut up.
Harper. Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding.
The Zadorov roller coaster. They've added a new loop on it. This is the yes, I'm crazy but I'm also out of the game very early. This is not allowed in the game of hockey. Zadorov crunching a guy from behind. Sounds like no hearing for Zaddy. So he essentially gets the 1-game suspension. That's right from behind, and that's right on the numbers. And that's why don't you take a shower and continue to be tall in street clothes?
That's hard-nosed hockey right there, Z-Cat.
Z-Cat.
Attaboy's Z-Cat. I still like him.
He is full chaos. And I'm glad that Vancouver fans are going to have to live that roller coaster ride in their first postseason that actually is real since like Quinn Hughes was in high school. They had the one bubble run. They have not played a playoff game in Vancouver with fans in that building since Quinn Hughes was in high school. Right, you giving us a bikini show? What's going on there? Big shout out to the Skin Dog, not the Skin Flute, but the Skin Dog. That's Jeff Skinner. Look at this, 1,000 games quick, Dino. Durable and right into the league out of the draft. He's cracking like the top dozen guys in terms of quickest to 1,000 games. He's 31, 322 days.
And we've talked about this in the past, right? I'm just going to double check. 1,000 games, 0 playoff games? Or no, he was on who? Zero playoff games.
Yeah.
I thought he was on that. Maybe it was with that. It was after that. 1,000 games, 0 postseason games.
Oli Jokinen was fucking around with those kinds of numbers for a while, wasn't he? When he arrived in Calgary, he never played a playoff game, I believe. We didn't know at the time it was better that way.
So just looking at the photo there, who's with Skinner? Like there's Kevin Adams.
Yeah,
and
the
then
rest is
looks like some
family
there.
People hold flowers.
Is he a MILF hunter or is he single?
Okay, we're going to move to the slate tonight in the NHL, Dean. Of, I think 5 non-Flames games. Let's take a quick peek at the schedule. Some bangers in here. Tampa, Toronto, that's a banger.
Banger.
Jersey, New York, I would say meh, but remember, Rempe got tossed the last time, didn't want anything to do with Curtis McDermott because the game before, he rolled over Nathan Bastian, and then Bastian came back in and got drilled by Trouba and got hurt. This is rivalry at a pretty good spot between the Devils and Rangers on Broadway. Rempe McDermott, I think we see it tonight.
Banger.
Thank you.
Because of the pre-existing rivalry, that's all good. Banger.
Banger. Oilers, Stars.
Banger.
Absolutely banger.
Yeah.
And then the nightcap's a little less banger-y. We have Seattle playing their young kids in LA and the Canucks trying to stabilize a little. They've had some wobbles here down the stretch, Dino, in Arizona at the Mullet Arena. Oilers are chasing them down.
Hey, 3 out of 5 are, 2.5 out of 5 are bangers.
Oh, 2.5, please. Those are 3 bangers.
The Devils, Rangers.
You're going to see the most anticipated scrap of the year potentially after
the other 2 undisputed bangers.
Okay, fine.
Complete and total bangers.
You wait till we play that fight on the show tomorrow, and I'm going to say Dean said this was a half banger.
I said it was. Look, I say it's a banger. I said it's a banger, and I'm just so if looking at the sked, worst case 2.5 bangers. Ryan, back to you.
Big trade in the NFL today. Stephon Diggs is no longer a Buffalo, or whatever the team's name is. There's a Buffalo right on the logo. It's the Buffalo Buffaloes. This is wild. We've seen a lot of tweets over the years about him being a malcontent. His brother saying we got to get him out of there. He's playing with a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, but not anymore. Well, maybe he is. He goes to Houston to roll with CJ Stroud, the rookie of the year, an incredible season. And that team on offense suddenly looks very dynamic. Here's the changes that the Bills and Texans have made. Let's take a peek at their rosters here. I think, Jack, you threw this one in there. Bills now have lost Diggs, Poyer, Tre'Davious White, Gabe Davis. Man,
I was going to say they've already lost Gabe the Babe, and now Diggs goes. Who's Allen throwing passes to?
Well, there is a bit of that we'll get to. Let's first look at the Texans because they've got some weaponry all of a sudden. And last year, that receiving core went bananas with C.J. Stroud. Now they add Stephon Diggs to Nico Collins and Tank Dell. They added Mixon in free agency, which I'm lukewarm on. And they still have Dalton Schultz, who had a heck of a second half of the season in Houston. Look out for the Houston Texans.
How about it?
15-1 to win the AFC this morning. Maybe not
C.J.
anymore.
Stroud, first overall. Fantasy football.
I don't know that if for quarterbacks, that's crazy.
It's a little crazy, but
who would you put ahead of him?
Brian, still that Mahomes character. He's pretty good.
Throw to who?
Is Travis Kelce still in Kansas City?
But his best wide receiver might be in jail. He's did the Henry Ruggs thing, car accident.
Yeah, he's get a driver.
Yeah, get a driver for sure, guys.
Hollywood Brown.
Oh my God. Anyway, like Mahomes would have been like a 10 to 15 fantasy quarterback.
Hey, I'm in the CJ. I'm in the fan club.
Now you said who's going to catch the passes in Buffalo. Here's an idea. attempting to catch my own 40-yard pass. That's Josh Allen.
That's Josh Allen. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, is he allowed to do that if he's behind the line of scrimmage?
Well, remember Lamar did it last year, right? It was tipped at the line and then he caught his own pass and then.
Yeah, tough off a tip, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Just
Buffalo,
the tip,
that's major changes, man. You spend $50+ million on a quarterback. You got to trim around the other parts of the roster.
So huge Buffalo Bills news. Rhett, what are your
Let's
thoughts?
go live to Rhett in Florida. Speechless, which I get. Speechless. How you doing there?
I just don't understand.
Uh,
How do headphones run out of juice? Like, how do wired headphones run out of power?
I just thought he was speechless. You know who saw this coming?
And then the phone runs out of power.
Phones. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Go to our new favorite insider.
Back to you.
Thank you. Back to our new favorite NFL insider from CTESPN, Antonio Brown, crazy human.
Oh, hey.
He's claiming credit for breaking this deal again, which is something he's now done twice because he also had the Russell Wilson to Pittsburgh, I believe. But he's throwing crazy shit out there every day. I don't know. Like
I don't have the graphic.
That's fine.
Way to go.
AB was saying, oh, yeah, I called this months ago. But he's just saying crazy shit every day. It's like when Rhett picks both sides of a series. Like, no, I had Florida. I'm like, well, you have down here. We wrote it down. You had Boston, not Florida.
Yeah. No, you're right. This would have been better with the graphic.
Very good.
Did you want to tweet about it? That will show your tweet.
I could tweet it, and then Jack, if you want to screenshot that, crop it, and throw it in, label that for okay. Jays had a tough 18 innings or so, Dean.
Is that right?
No hit by a winless Houston club until that moment, and then we're down to their final out without a run yesterday in Houston, despite some good pitching from Jose Barrios again.
Varsho's running, and Schneider hits one high and deep to left center, and it is gone! He hit it out!
Babe Schneider.
And Davis Schneider has given the Blue Jays the lead in the top of the ninth.
And so the Houston Astros now have as many no-hitters as they do wins through 6 games this year, and the Blue Jays are back to 500. Baseball.
Clutch. Love
Baseball. He's a fun story. You want underdog and like no chance in hell this guy makes it, he's right there. They'll wrap that set today. It'll be Javier for the Astros and the Hound, Chris Bassett for the Jays. 6:10 first pitch. We move to dumb shit. Now, our new friend of the show, I don't know if he likes us or knows us. This Kiwi living in Calgary that's doing the blackjack, I'm hooked. Yeah. This guy's a legend. Day 56, I think we're at.
It's day 56, going to blackjack and betting 10 cents for every Instagram follower. Now, I know I said after we lost a hand, I would drop the bet back down, but with day 56, we have hit the 400,000 follower milestone. So we're going to keep it the same, at least one more day, $40,000 bet coming right up. Alrighty, day 56, 8 weeks in, we have 400,000 of you legends in here now, which is just outrageous. Now, I did say that after a loss, I would pull the bet back, but given it's a milestone, we're going to go with 10 cents per follower again. So, a $40,000 bet, no side bets. We're off to the races. This no dealer change though, no suspicion needed. Be good to us, please, buddy. 9 and a 10 here. 20! 20! We would have had a flush. But it is okay. We hit stand and pray to the punting lords that this little fucking weasel does not find his way to a number we will not even say. He goes 4 for 6. And 12 and 10, that'll fucking do! Back on top, the Rog curse is lifted, you little fucking beauty, and you better believe I'll be back tomorrow and betting even more.
Love it.
This guy lives in our city.
Okay, so now do we know these are legit bets?
Yes.
Or is it just
no, this is legit. And he was on a sports talk show in New Zealand where he's from. He's a Kiwi, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they're like, dude, like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, mates, I'm the biggest sack of shit up here. I'm just snowboarding, drinking the piss, and gambling. Felt the bars and the hills. He's just living his life. What a legend. Right. He's up to over 300 grand. He's on a heater, man.
Jesus. Because
So
yeah, like,
tomorrow-
how do you? So you need the dough to start this thing.
I started low, and he's just. I think he won his first 4 or
Wow.
6, and just double, and guys
Well, I'm
living a
hooked.
dream. He's posting pictures at the ship at ski hills around town and
He's
gambling
got
and
the
only
flame.
winning.
For those that aren't watching, he's got a Flames toque on.
He had the Flames toque, and he's got the New Zealand All Blacks
Yes.
when he's in the old casino, the virtual casino.
Yeah,
What
I'm
an
hooked.
absolute beauty.
I can't wait for tomorrow.
Yes, we'll keep you abreast, and maybe next week we could even chase down this gentleman, get him on the show.
I agree. Get him on the show.
Get him on the show. He's got the Flames toque. I'm really hoping he started the show. If anyone knows, his name is Tim Myers. He goes by Tim.Nacky on Instagram.
It's a
Your
little
pal Tim,
presumptive
reach out.
of you, Ryan.
Tell him we need him on the burner. Huh?
Just because he's a Flames fan, it's a little presumptive to think he would know who we are.
There's better chances of him living in Calgary with the Flames toque knowing us than any other situation. Like if he's in Auckland wearing a Yankees hat. Let's be honest here. We got a chance.
Yes.
So that's what we're hoping for. If anyone knows Tim, reach out. Love him.
Beauty.
Nothing but winners here on Barn Burner, Dean. Look at us, you and I. Year 2, another successful year. No one's gonna beat us. Dino, we get it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Where did he come from?
Oh dear. I've got a scooter clip for you. No, it's not the guy lifting weights, because that's a different kind of scooter usage. This, I believe, is some sort of Australian X Games thing. Look at the size of this jump they built. Send it, buddy. Send it, buddy. Good night.
Now, see, I saw this clip the other day when I was doing the Pinder Report, and I thought it was maybe in poor taste.
Of what? That he's selling it? He's clearly not knocked out.
No, to show an unconscious person
No, he's just
sliding on his face.
That's Nathan Bastian. He's just selling the Rempe hit here.
Okay.
Most impacts on the knee. He's fine. They should be wearing those helmets, the motocross that cover the face. You don't need the
I don't know.
face down the rubber. Yeah. This one's labeled Jump Dick. Good labeling by our boy Jack there.
And you know what? You could go ahead, put on a jock or a cam.
No, that's
It's not going to help you.
Don't care.
I feel like, you know what? This just kind of popped into my head. You feel like a guy who should be on a good at pogo sticking. Are you a pogo sticker?
If I had an adult one, I would partake.
Right?
Because I
Jack,
got
are you
the
with
kids.
me? It feels like Ryan is a guy that when the kids are in, and it's time for Ryan to put on a show and you know get attention.
One hand.
8 beers deep. Now he's getting on the pogo stick.
I do see it. We should try that too.
Yeah, sure. Let's see if I can pogo stick all the way to work one day. We need an adult one. They're all made for kids' weights. They're not made for 195-pound men.
Well, if you have one, contact the show.
Contact the
Ryan,
Wolverine at
back to you. Contact the
this
Wolverine
game
in Phoenix.
So, have you noticed on your phone you're getting a ton of spam these days, like text messages that are totally?
I sure do, Ryan.
Hey, it's XYZ Bank. Just send us that credit card info. We'll refund you right away. Oh, the package. You got your package. It's Jim's package delivered. Guy, we just need that credit card. We'll send it right over. We'll
and
refund
annoying, Ryan, is the other thing too. Yes, I
Yes.
am. I understand what you're saying, and it is very annoying.
And so I got a message from an unknown number, and I'm like, oh my God, another one of these things. But then I read it and I said, oh my fucking God, this is amazing. This is an old pal that lives in Vancouver now who will be back in Calgary. Why? Because he lost his fantasy football league and he has to perform a stand-up act at an open mic night. On April 25th, please come laugh at me. When purchasing your tickets, make sure to select the right date. I finished last in fantasy football. I'd have to do a stand-up routine and an opening act to the show. It'll be sold out and a great act.
That's
more details to follow.
family.
I will match the ticket purchases with a charitable donation to the Canadian Mental Health Association. If you buy tickets, make sure you got the right date, blah, 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 and circulate to anyone that would like to have a laugh. I am so excited I put this in my calendar. This is the kind of punishment we need for our league, Dean. A stand-up routine in front of people where you can fall on your face and be punished for last place.
Well, and good on him for the donation and the matching and all that sort of thing. But yeah,
Wonderful
human. Oh, that's cringy.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's a rough one.
Could be.
Will be.
Should be. Will be. We'll finish with some food. I know you love it. This is a guy that I think has a lot in common with you, Dean. You'll immediately recognize where he is and watch what he's done here. Keep your eyes away from my rotisserie.
Don't scan this. Scan my shirt.
No, scan the shirt.
Me.
It does work. That is. It does. That's the
So he has
It is a white
the
t-shirt.
barcode for a chicken rotisserie.
He's at Costco. He's the two banger is not his move. It is the rotisserie
barcode for a rotisserie chicken is on his T-shirt.
So that
And
when
rather
he's
than
going
scanning the bird, they scan his shirt, and then it shows up as a rotisserie chicken on the receipt.
this is one of those old man jokes that it's just he thinks this is hilarious and he's
He
so
does,
committed to the
yeah.
bit, and like two of his buddies think this is funny. The rest of society is like, that guy's crazy.
It's a thing. I don't know if it's clever or funny or pathetic or sad, but it's a
probably
thing
all
for
those
sure.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. And what and again, it's like, well, Dean, you know where this guy is. True to form, was there yesterday, have to go back today.
Two banger? Single banger.
No, it was the chicken phalanges yesterday.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
And how would you rate it? 5 stars.
Very good. Always good.
Would return. We'll order again.
Will return today.
For the same, not for a banger.
Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I'm stupid.
Oh, you forgot to return something, right? Yeah.
No, I forgot to go for the one thing I was supposed to go get, and then
You went Nate instead.
spent $350 on other stuff. It's like, oh, did you get the son of a bitch?
That is a good price for 2 kilograms of nutmeg. I give him credit. Simpsons line, I believe.
You could never have too much coconut oil. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And finally, do you ever put rice on your sandwich? I've never seen this before. This is odd. I don't know that.
We're having a nice day.
Guess that's not right. Sorry, Dean. Yeah, you should throw that out. That's
We're having a nice time. We've had some laughs. McLennan came in. Jack's been involved. I had Jack laughing today.
Sullivan back to earth.
There's no need to ruin things. Are you done?
It wasn't rice. It was.
I got
it on my part.
Yeah.
No mistakes at Village Honda dealership for life, Dean. Full life.
Huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, all makes, all models, all budgets, over 90 units on-site, access to more than 500 more inside the dealership group. It's why Village Honda is and should be your one-stop automotive destination in Calgary. Yes, worth the trip. VillageHonda.com.
Jack was very worried about that. The boss was not.
Well,
sure.
I think he's hearing the criticism and the concerns.
I
Unlike,
would like to go back to zero, the first image we had for the Pinder Report. There is no other thing on the internet that does inverse standings and crocodiles. This comes with the territory.
right. Well, if T Blasco 58 says so, then
A tweet has
Who
gone
are we
viral.
to-
With, 3 views when I capped it. Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. Who are we to debate T Blasco 58?
Not here to do it. Can't do it. We got to get that blackjack guy on. That guy's, every time we tune in, he's got another 30,000 followers.
Are you at all concerned that it's
A hoax?
fake?
No. I just want it to be real so
So
badly.
some guy in Calgary is dropping 40 grand a day on one hand of blackjack.
A Kiwi, no less.
All right. I just before we get the guy on, I just think
No.
maybe some due diligence, perhaps. Maybe.
I mean, he was on a huge sports talk show in New Zealand.
Well, then again, if T Blasco 58 and New Zealand Sports Talk Radio say it's the case, then it's got to be.
Listen, you got a few days off here. We'll
If
squeeze,
Jim and
squeeze the
Humpy-
hoax in before you're back.
If the Jim and Humpy show in New Zealand say that this guy's legit, then it's good enough for me.
I want him in studio. I want him sitting in your seat, touching your mic, stealing
Yeah.
your props. Let's
Well,
go.
we need to do it. He's got to do it live on the show. We got to do the whole thing on our show.
Oh my God, that would be unbelievable.
Right?
Can we clip
Just
this
come on
and
and
send it
talk
to this
about
guy?
it.
Let's go.
This
At worst, I'll settle for 2 pints at the ship. Let's go.
one here. Hey Ryan, is he a Kiwi? I think what
Did I
Kellen's
say-
saying is you've said that about.
It's very
Anytime.
nasally vowels, mate.
Yeah.
Love Kiwis.
Yeah. Clearly. Let's do some Betway. Do some Betway. We have 5 games in the National Hockey League tonight from which to choose if we decide to go that way.
Yep.
I know I did.
I did too.
I went right to the NHL and I
Three
said I'm
bangers.
going to find something in here that works for me. Yes, sir. That's what I did.
Talk to me.
Take a look. The NJD at the NYRs.
Ooh.
This is in the pre-built bet category. A Ranger money line win and Adam Fox to get a point. Plus 120. It's not a huge pay, but we're getting plus money on a Fox point and a win for the Rangers. Devils played last night, played last night.
Yep.
And as I said, this is a pure banger tonight. You tried to debate me on it. And the other one of the other games, not a banger, but still, Canucks at Arizona.
Ooh.
A Canucks money line win. And old Quinn Hughes, the least attractive Hughes boy. If he can get a point and the Canucks win, it's a plus 110.
Are you just slandering the Hughes
Observation. That's all it is.
I might say he's the best one.
That could be your observation. Both of us could be right. Both of us could be wrong.
I don't mind that bet as well. I think the Canucks they're getting the pressure's building here. This is it feels must-winny for them.
Yeah.
Oilers breathing down their neck. You basically almost gone wire to wire, top spot in the West, and now suddenly they might be second in the division. Have to play Vegas in round one.
Here's a word for you, and you could complacency. I think for some of these teams that have just been out in front, I think some complacency starts to maybe set in, if you know what I mean.
Do you know what my fear is with Vancouver? It's the Western Conference winning Calgary Flames that got pumped by Colorado in the 1-8. They were just a 500 team after the deadline that year. They were way ahead of everyone in the division. They thought they were way better than their opponent, and they got speed bagged by the Avs, who added Cale Makar in game 3?
Yeah, or 2.
It was 2. That's right.
I hope he can adapt. Don't want to ruin him by putting him in too early.
It's a big jump from college. I don't like people jumping to conclusions.
Who are you? Is this an impression?
Just random.
Oh, because it sounded like
voice.
You were making an impersonation of somebody.
No, God, no, I couldn't do that.
Do your best.
Yusuf Alamaki and this guy, two of the rising young superstars on defense in the league. Who's to say which one's better? Here are my picks. I'm with you on the Devils and the Rangers. I'm just going to go -1.5 to get my number on the plus side. You added in the Fox point. There's ways to do it. Go get the Rangers a plus money here if you can find a way. And I kind of like OT with Dallas and Edmonton. This should have a playoff feel. I think this is a close game. And I looked, and the Oilers have played in overtime in 6 of their last 14 games. That's almost half.
It is almost half.
And I'm
That's
getting
over
plus
half.
310. So I'm going to dance.
And if it goes to overtime, Todd Marchand to get the winner.
Patrick Steffen, finish that empty net. Don't let it get to OT.
Yeah.
Those are my Betway bets.
Betway bets. There you have it. You can use ours to tell us to go pound sand and do your own thing. It's whatever you want to do. Get the Betway app, get it on your phone, get it on your tablet, and more importantly, right there. With Betway, you'll get a free bet of up to $200 if your first bet loses. Create a new account, scan the QR code that is on your screen, and redeem the bonus. Place your bet. No minimum amount required. If it loses, you'll get a refund of up to $200. You can then use that to bet on your favorite sports. It's a great offer, but it's only available outside of Ontario. Bet the responsible way with Betway.
Baby.
Do you think
Baby.
Rhett's charging his headphones?
Yeah,
or
he's
is
just charging them. He'll be right back.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
He's not down at the beach or anything?
Jack, patience is a virtue. I wouldn't want you to jump the gun here, rush to any sort of conclusion
Rhett-
or judgment.
Yeah, Rhett wouldn't bail at the first sign of, he's in. Just wait for him. Stephon Diggs can't end the show until we get his thoughts. It's a huge deal. Huge loss. looking on the screen. I don't see him in the.
He must be muted. If you hit a button, maybe.
No, because I have one of the producer feeds.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can kind of see everything. So like when Noodles comes in or drags, like boop, they pop up there. And then I know when to throw. Just looking here. No, Rhett. I see a Boomer, a Pinder, and Jack.
Is there like an incognito or ghost mode, Jack, that he's enabled?
Like a blind carbon copy thing where I can't see it?
Yeah.
No,
or are you seeing the same on your feed, Jack? Do you see, because there's Boomer, Pinder.
Yeah.
Jack there, producer.
No,
monitor.
just us three.
All right.
He's probably just almost ready. There you go.
DoorDash. What is it you need? You need groceries? You need something from the pharmacy? Maybe a pastry or two from a bakery, flower shops, restaurants, and more. It's easy. What you want, from where you want, whenever you want it, and it shows up right outside your door. You know how DoorDash works. It's a beautiful thing. And for a limited time, you can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more if you use our promo code, which is short for promotion. Promotion code Nation25, Nation25, and that will trigger that deal for you. So with that in mind, what's on the menu for DoorDash?
3 bangers in the NHL. Let's touch them all. 5 o'clock puck drop in Toronto between the Bolts and the Leafs. Devils Rangers also at 5 on Broadway. Big tilt brewing. McDermott and Rempe. You waved goodbye as he got ejected. Did Rempe last time they played? He didn't scrap. Emotions may boil over there. 7:30. Watch out for Todd Marchand. You said it is the Oilers in Big D, Dallas against the Stars, 2 Western Conference contenders. And the Astros and Jays will play the rubber match of their 3-game set in Houston, 6:10 first pitch. That's a bunch of bangers on the menu.
On the menu for DoorDash. Dash that for the win with DoorDash. I guess it was 2 days ago. The scenario was because the Leafs were playing the Panthers. Mm-hmm. And if the Leafs lost that game and if Tampa won, which did not happen, that really would have tightened the screws for this game tonight between Tampa and Toronto. Now there's still a major matchup. 6 points separating these two with 8 to go. A Lightning regulation win here. That sets up a fantastic final week. Leafs win this one tonight, or you feel like even if they get a point, pretty much home and cooled for that 3rd spot in the division. But
now, what will be interesting is,
come on, let's get some drama.
Florida and Boston still jockeying for 1 in the Atlantic, but it would feel like a Leafs win would sort of lock them in the 3-hole. I have to pee. I'm doing the pee dance.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's the Batusi. Ooh.
Shouldn't have told him that.
I don't know if Rhett's coming back.
What? He wouldn't leave us high and dry.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back.
Maybe he's just getting a quick body surf in before he joins the end of the show.
It could be. Yeah.
Shoveler's in a bikini. He's got to get her out in the sun, lay out the towels for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put up the umbrella.
So I'm just looking here.
So wait till tomorrow for Stephon Diggs, I guess, reaction.
Yeah. Tomorrow, it's a Calgary Flame game day. Off to Winnipeg. That's right. So that'll be it. So today, travel day, right? They're not going to travel tomorrow. No rest for the Flames. And the Jets snapped that 6-game skid the other night with a win at home. Yeah, they lost 6 straight.
Yeah, they were leading that division not long ago, and now it's like, oh.
So a difficult foe, but if we've learned anything, as you've if you had a tweet or something that you could share,
if there's a graphic
the Flames against, you could tell us, or you could just write it out and then
2-0 against the Jets so far in the season series.
See, I mean, what the H?
Type that, and we'll get
what
that.
The H? So that's tomorrow. You're gonna have to get your helmets on.
Yes, and a special guest tomorrow. Sergio Camargo is 1 game away from 100 with the Cavs. They open their season next week. He'll come in and chat about
100
games with the Cavs.
100?
Isn't that wild? Already 5 years.
Have they played 100 games?
They have to have. He's missed a few here or there, and he's closing in on 100. That's a big deal.
Holy cats.
And if they beat Vancouver FC, they'll get the Whitecaps at home in round 2 of the Canadian Championship in early May.
And then Messi plays at Atco Field.
It's coming, baby.
That's right.
You'll be there.
Can't wait. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Support the sponsors.
Yes. Damn it.
You know what? Tell a friend about the show.
Unless
you don't like it, then just shush.
Keep your damn mouth shut.
You don't need to say hurtful things, because you know what they are? Hurtful.
Jack?
I was just going to say, you got to tell people how to win $1 million so we can go hang out with Rhett in Florida.
I could have sworn.
No. See, this is why Rhett doesn't need to be here. He's already won the lottery of life with super long arms and making millions of dollars in his early 20s. The rest of us aren't so lucky, Dean.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe, because I feel like, man, it was right there. You know what it is? I don't know what it's at the top of my list, and I kind of put a pen through it as if I had already read it. Darn. Well, you, the viewer and listener, deserve better, and Service Credit Union definitely deserves better. It's the Big Share. The Service Big Share is back for the 6th year with your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. And I feel like people that enjoy the show, that are in our community, this could resonate for you. Just move your savings account, your existing savings, move it to Service Credit Union. Become a member, and you have chances at winning $1 million. Every $500 saved gives you 5 entries into the Service Big Share contest. In addition to that, other ways, you can save in a daily banking account. Fast track that savings with a high yield savings account. Invest in a GIC that Service has during this contest period with great interest rates and term lengths. They got a TFSA for you, RRSP, some short and long-term goals. You talk to the people, they're going to put you in the right spot, right where you need to be. Bottom line, transfer your existing savings to Service for chances to win $1 million, but the clock is ticking. April 30th, 2024. Contest ends April 30th. Skill test required. For rules, visit service.ca/win. There you go. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack. And you know what I bet's going to happen? Somebody will have, at the end of the show, will have heard us talking about Service, right, and decide finally, they've been talking about it, and it was right at the end of the show. Today's the day. Yeah, that one time right there at the end of on it was April the whatever it is, 3rd.
Yep.
And right before the end of the show, they talked about it. I'm like, okay, you've convinced me. I'm moving my boom, $1 million winner. I know that's how it's going to work.
It feels good. I like it.
Yeah, I know that's how.
As long as Rhett doesn't win, I'm happy.
He's won.
He's oiling up the shoveler on the beach right now while we work.
Yeah. So again, keeping track at home. Didn't watch the game.
Mm-hmm.
Headphones ran out of power.
He was Pixel Man the whole show.
Yeah, Wi-Fi, like tin can or something, tin can and a string, and then the phone ran out of power.
I'm going to give him 2.5 stars out of 4. Just -2.
See you, buddies.